Hello everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. Hopefully you can hear me. We're trying a slightly different setup today. But yes, hi everybody. It's my birthday. Yay! So yeah, I'm 30 today. It's quite a big day for me. And given we are still in lockdown here in the UK, I figured why not just try and spend some of it just doing things that I enjoy if I can't do things in person with people and things like that. So yes, hi everybody. Going to be doing a little bit of a live stream today. Thank you everybody. I'm already seeing people saying happy birthday over in the live chat. If you are in the live chat, if you can't see it, just hit refresh and you should be able to get that. I'm very glad that people are already telling me yes, we can hear you, because if you haven't been at one of these live streams before, we have occasional tech problems. So yeah, hopefully everything looks good. Hopefully everything is sorted. If I go out of focus or any of the things, just let me know and I'll try and fix it. But today we are going to be talking about Eurovision 2021. I'm going to be ranking live all the songs of Eurovision 2021 using the Gerber sorter. If you're watching this back, by the way, hello, thank you very much. If you couldn't join me, why not? I invited you to my birthday party. I'm joking, but yes, thank you very much for watching. If you are watching back, you can leave comments down below. Let me know what your thoughts are as we try and do this live. I apologize in advance if I get anything wrong or like anything happens, and if I don't rank your song where you want it to be, I'm sorry. This is just my personal opinion, and sometimes I'll click the wrong thing and we're just going to see and we're going to flow with it. And I'm going to try and do this whilst at the same time trying to talk about my experience at Eurovision and my press experience. People are saying that the sound might be a little bit quiet. I can probably try and fix that whilst we do this. See, this is live. So okay, maybe that should help a little bit. So yes, I'm going to be talking about my experience at Eurovision. So obviously I have been to 4 different Eurovision song contests, and I've watched it since 1997. So I'll talk a bit about my background and why I wanted to get involved, and then when I did get involved, yeah, there's a lot of good things. So obviously just keep chatting away. Thank you so much to everybody who is over in the live chat just saying happy birthday. Thank you so much. Yes, this will end before the Formula One, by the way. There is a weird intersection, I find, of Eurovision fans who like Formula One as well. There seems to be a good mix of us. So yes, don't worry, it will end before then. I will make certain of it so we can watch that. Obviously, if you're watching back, this won't apply to you. You'll know who won the race, potentially, if you care about Formula One. Okay, right, let's move over. So I'm dual screening. So if you can see this thing maybe here in the corner of your vision, it's the second monitor, because I am two monitoring it this time. So if you don't know what this is an amazing, it's like a Eurovision ranking sorter program that allows you to effectively you can pick one-on-one battles between different songs, and you get to decide which one is your favorite. And yeah, you can, it effectively will give you your list of, this is your top 39 songs of Eurovision, or whichever year you want. I think this year, so this is Mr. Gerber. The address is it's esc.gerber.com. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if it's not. And also big shout out to Elaine, who has made a semi-final qualifier, because also this will tell me who I think, or who I want, no, it'll tell me who I want to qualify from each semi-final. And I will say, going into this, I have a pretty clear vision of my top 3. I know who my top 3 are, and I know who my bottom 2 are, but I don't really know the order of the bottom 2. We'll see, and we'll get to those as we get to them. Somebody's saying Vettel starting from last place on the grid. Well, that's not going to put him down much further than he was. Okay, so yes, as other people have pointed out, what a starting duo, which is Poland or Portugal. Some of these songs I have not covered yet. I don't think I've covered Poland or Macedonia or Georgia, or there's probably a couple of others that I might not have touched on, and I will be doing full reviews for those as well. If you haven't seen them, I have reviewed most of the songs of the year already. So you can go back and watch those later on if you want. But let's get on. So if I were to choose between Poland and Portugal, now I know not a lot of I've had an entire bottle of Prosecco almost by myself, by the way. So not only have I got tech things to deal with, I also have that to deal with. So I apologise if I just stumble a little. I know a lot of Polish people don't really like Poland. I actually kind of do. And I am a quarter Polish by blood. I will always say this because I know every year I used to get hated on by Polish Eurovision fans who are like, you hate Poland. How dare you say you're Polish and you hate the Polish songs? But I actually quite like it, which makes me now at odds with Polish Eurovision fans, I feel like. But yeah, obviously, like, let me know as you go along, as we get on, and we'll see where we get to. So yeah, for me, personally, I'm going to choose Poland. And then, if you've not seen it before, this is what we get onto, and then it will eventually sort through the entire list. Also, let me know, like, if it's not big enough, I can try and make it a little bit bigger. But I think it looks okay from what I can see. So we'll keep going on, and if there's like interesting battles, so like for this one, it's definitely Moldova for me. And obviously this one would be Iceland. I will say, Israel, Set Me Free. I was quite a big fan of Set Me Free before we got to this new version of it. And now they've revamped it, and it just feels very messy to me. I'm not a big fan of the revamp, and I think that, I don't know, I really like it. It allows Eden to show off her vocals so much more, but otherwise, I just feel like it's a bit of a letdown. So actually, I think that if I'd have done this a week ago, then I think Israel would probably be higher in my ranking than it might be now. But again, this is just me as a Eurovision fan voting for this. People that haven't heard the original version might think differently. So I'm just putting that up. Okay, so we will talk about, I suppose we have to move on to talking about me and Eurovision and my experiences. Because somebody has already asked, are you not with Wee Wee Blogs anymore? No, I'm not. I'm not. I haven't been for 2 years, nearly. It will be 2 years the day after Tel Aviv, pretty much. So obviously, yeah, I have been a big Eurovision fan since 1997. That was the first contest that I ever watched. And I immediately got into it. I've watched it every year since then. I watched the semi-finals since they started. But it wasn't really until, I guess, 2011, which was my third year at uni. So I went to university in Leeds, and my degree, I did journalism. So this is a tricky one, by the way. I've immediately stalled on battle number 5 because both of them are kind of around the same thing for me. I think I'm probably going to go Denmark here. I'm great into another difficult battle. Yeah, I did journalism, so I always have had like a bit of a journalism slant to it. And I will say, like, my goal when I decided I wanted to do journalism, honestly, and it's probably not what you should do as a journalist or like why you want to go into journalism, but one of the things that I really wanted to do was I wanted to be the Eurovision commentator. I wanted to talk about Eurovision. Like, I knew that like my dream job, and it still is in life, but like my dream goal would be to be the Terry Wogan, to be the Graham Norton. And I'm realistic, that's not going to happen. But, you know, that was always something that I really, really wanted. So, yeah, in 2012, I started to really... Was it 2011 or 2012? It must have been 2011, so it was my second year of uni. Apologies. I started watching the semi-finals and getting into it a bit more, but then it was the 2012 season where I really got into it. And I would watch the ESC Extra live streams. I would watch them in Baku. I would watch all the national finals. And that was where I really started to get into it. This one is going to be Switzerland for me, between these two, by the way. I really like Bulgaria, but Switzerland is one of those top three that I was talking about. Bulgaria is like a fraction behind for me. And this one, I think it's going to be Albania. Amen is good. I haven't talked about Austria either. That's another one I need to touch on. But yeah, I think Albania is the one for me here. So flash forward. So like I had been involved with Eurovision. I'd been watching the national finals and getting involved a little bit more for a couple of years. And then after the 2014 contest, I decided, I really want to start talking about this. I want to write about this more. I want to do more. And that was where I discovered that Wee Wee Blogs wanted new writers. And I don't want to talk too much about like being part of Wee Wee too much in this. Like I want to talk about more just like my experience being there and being at Eurovisions. But yeah, obviously that was a huge part. Like I wouldn't have been there or anything like that if it wasn't for Wee Wee Blogs. And I don't want to like just trade in on the fact that was Chris from Wee Wee Blogs in a way. Like I want to do my own things a little bit sometimes, but also it was an amazing 5 years of my life, and it was a great period, and I love everybody there. They were all amazing, and I cannot thank them enough, because if it wasn't for Wee Wee Blogs, I would not have been able to achieve a goal, a dream in my life of going to Eurovision and doing the things that I did. And I will talk about it. Like it's somewhere in what I talk about on YouTube. It's like I am from Wee Wee Blogs, because inevitably people ask me about it. And people ask like, are you still with them? And all those kind of things. Let's go with San Marino for this one, and then definitely Sweden for this one. This one's of Russia as well. I really like Russian Woman. It has grown on me so much. So flash forward to 2014. So I started working with Wee Wee Blogs, and then I very quickly like started doing like a little bit more. We were doing more videos and things like that, and I have experience editing videos because I did journalism at uni, like I said, and part of my course was teaching you how to edit videos. So that was a big asset in a way, I think, that helped me like move up a little bit, and because I was like throwing myself into things, I think William saw that a little bit. And when it came around to press accreditation for Vienna, Eurovision 2015, that was like, I was asked, do you want to go? I said I wanted to go, and I managed to get accreditation. So I got to go to Eurovision for the first time ever, and I got to go as press, which was amazing. And it literally was like one of those moments where I was like, this is something that I have wanted like forever, pretty much. Like since I was 6 years old, I had wanted to go to Eurovision, and I was getting to go and do it. When I was 24, God, makes me feel old now. So yeah, I managed to get to go, and I don't remember really like us having a big plan when we were going there. I think it was very much like, we'll go, we'll do videos, we'll do like what we expected to do. And I feel like we suddenly just started throwing ourselves into videos. And, I watched back some of those videos we did from 2015, and I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? Like, what was I saying? It was just very full on. It was an experience. But yeah, going to Eurovision 2015, like, it's special to me. And it's not a great year overall. By far and away, it's not a great year overall. But I think it's special to me because it was my first one. And I know a lot of people that go to press for the first time, like their first Eurovision is a big thing for them. And it definitely was for me. It was amazing. One of the best experiences of my life, even though like I did not look after myself. So one thing you need to understand, I think, about, and it's something that I've never felt like, I guess I don't feel bitter about it, but I feel a bit like aggrieved, or like I feel like it needs to be noted, is that we did an awful lot of this off our own back. Like, I paid for my flights, I paid for my accommodation, I paid to live in a foreign country for 2 weeks 4 times in a row, pretty much. There was very little that we could subsidize. So I spent literally thousands of pounds on Eurovision, and was it worth it? Absolutely. But I feel like sometimes people just thought that it was like a holiday, or it was like a job, like I was being paid to be there, and it wasn't. And that's like part of the reason why I think I ended up getting a bit bitter or something about it. I wasn't bitter, but I was just like, where some of that, like, almost like, I don't know what it is, but it was just like one of those things where I was like, I just didn't realize, like, I think people thought we were taking it easy, or it was like nice and fun for us. I took time off work. I didn't have a holiday for 4 years because I was going to Eurovision. So yeah, there was a lot, really. And it was entirely worth it, and I would not change it, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. But I always used to think, like, people think that we are just like getting paid to do this. Like, always I would get the things about people saying, oh, you know, you are being paid by a country to say good things about them. That never happened. I have never been offered money to say nice things about a country. Granted, I will say that most countries, or some countries, like, for me, I grew attached to certain countries, or like I would have a bond with them, or things like that. That was entirely different. I was never asked to say nice things about them. Like, you would get press gifts from certain countries, and I think like most people in the press got those, and every country had the opportunity to do that. So I think it's different. But I would say, in a way, like, everybody in the press who receives those things is in some way being incentivized to say nice things about a country, which I don't think it was specific to a certain outlet. Right. This one is a tough one, by the way. Like, I've paused on this screen for about 2 minutes whilst I've said that, but it's also because I don't know which one I want to choose. I think it's Italy. And I love Iceland, and I love Dawiak Magnid, but I really like Måneskin a bit more. So that's a tricky one, as is this one, but I think it's Ireland, and I think this is Greece. Eurovision 2015. So Vienna was really exciting. The press room, it was the best press room I think I ever went to. They gave us free coffee and free fruit and free snacks, and I pretty much subsided entirely off those. At one point, I realised I hadn't had hot food for 5 days in some point in the middle of it. But the other thing you need to realise, like, with the press room is that it was 12-hour days, pretty much. Like, I didn't see sunlight for much of the time in Vienna because we were just indoors. We were just working and pumping out videos and writing up things and editing videos and press conferences and all of that. I was also interviewing people a little bit in Vienna. And I will say that, like, overall, thank you very much to JBP, who just said, I was in the press centre of Vienna as a volunteer. You were such a nice group and very friendly. Thank you very much. That's really nice to hear. The Vienna volunteers were amazing as well. We had Benjamin Music, which was a whole thing at Weary Blogs. That Benjamin was great. But just everybody. And also, I would say, like, every volunteer, every year there's been, like, volunteers who I remember. And they were just, like, always very friendly, always smiling, always happy to help. Volunteers make Eurovision, like, definitely in the press room. But, like, we would get people, like, offering us, like, places to go eat. Do you need help? Like, in Kiev, I needed help exchanging money, things like that. There was always something, and it was always just nice. Always really great people. Was this a battle? Have I accidentally clicked one too many? Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, this one is definitely Czech Republic for me. And that one's Switzerland. Oh, this is a tricky one as well. Vienna. Press room. Yeah, press room was really good. Long days, but it was worth it. I was interviewing people, and I stopped doing that because I don't know. I just didn't. I felt like my strengths were elsewhere, and there were people who were better there at interviewing people and getting things out of them. I didn't really ever feel like I needed to have that moment. Like, I got selfies with a couple of Eurovision acts, but for me it was never about, like, that connection after Vienna. It was always more like being able to talk to you guys. And again, like, skipping forward way in advance, that was why I loved doing the live stream, because it was great just chatting with people, and it's why I kind of love doing this. This one's probably Bulgaria. Oh, these are also tricky. This year is so difficult. It's such a good year of Eurovision. I will say, like, in 2015, I can't not mention Armenia in 2015 because Tamar Kaprelian was amazing. And just, like, pretty much everybody in genealogy, but Armenia, like that entire team were really, really great. So I had known of Tamar like beforehand, and like we had chatted on Twitter and things like that. And I remember like the very first day where rehearsals began, Armenia were doing their press conference. And if you've never been, you won't know this, but after a press conference, everybody like swarms the artist trying to get selfies and things like that. And I was sort of like, I had wandered in because I was like, oh, it'd be nice to hear what they say. And I kind of came in at the end of their meeting. I'd come at the end of the press conference and they had said, oh, you know, okay, everybody comes off. And next thing I know, like coming towards me, and I was like, what's happening here? Like the kind of like crowd parted and Tamar Kaprelian comes up to me and just like hugs me. And I was like, this is a Eurovision artist. This is somebody like an artist I have followed for like a good year or so anyway. And like, what is happening? And it was great. Like, she's amazing. Like I've got her on Facebook and all these kind of things. And I got to go see them like recording their song The Other Side. So it was Tamar and Stephanie Topalian and Mary Jean and a couple of other people, Alina Bourne and Maria Elena Kyriakou. Got to go see all those be recorded live, which was an amazing experience. I went to Japan in 2015, went for dinner with Stephanie Topalian, again from Genealogy, which was amazing. So that was like one of the highlights, and that will still stand out for me forever with Eurovision. Another thing, like I didn't know what to expect, like going there. I would say Vienna, like in terms of what they did in the city, they were one of the best. In terms of like the side events and things they put on. So they put on things like in the first week, there were a lot of nights where the acts would go and just like do a little performance and then just hang out and drink, which was fun. Memorable moment was watching Måns Zelmerlöw and Krista Bjorkman dancing on a table in some random Vienna like bar, and then the security coming and telling them off. That is a moment that will live with me forever, I think. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed just a lot of the things there. The nightlife was great. Euroclub was very enjoyable. It was on like a lot of levels. If you don't know what Euroclub is, it's like the nightclub for press and for fans. And like some years it's different, and like people that can get in, and the acts go and the delegations go as well. So yeah, that was very fun. Very expensive. Vienna as a whole was pretty expensive. And yeah, got to go to the shows as well. You know, being able to see rehearsals was amazing. You know, that was kind of why I went. Like, I wanted to be able to see it before anybody else, like in a selfish way. And again, I'd watch like live streams of people watching rehearsals. So I kind of was like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm actually seeing it live and being able to talk about it. So it was amazing. It was also where I learned that how unathletic I was, / still am. But it used to be allowed that the rules slightly changed. We'll get to this in a bit, but this one's definitely Serbia. I realise Serbian fans, I haven't been ranking Hurricane very highly so far, but definitely like I like Hurricane, I like Loco Loco, but this one I think is definitely a Serbia win, and that one's definitely a Malta win. So Euroclub, where was I going with that? Oh, right, rehearsals. Okay, so, yeah, rehearsals. We used to run. Literally, like, we had running competitions between, like, different people from different blogs and websites where somebody would be recording. So in our case, it was pretty much always Ron. Shout out Ron. He does amazing outtake and blooper videos as well outside of Wee Wee, which are available on YouTube, so go watch them. Ron would, like, hurriedly pass me a SD card, and then there would be, like, 10 of us literally running through the press centre, like up some stairs, through like catering into the press centre to hand it to somebody from our team to upload the video so we could be first. Like, it was literally so ridiculous when you look back on it, and thankfully we kind of stopped that, as did the EBU when they stopped letting us record. There are a lot of people just commenting as well, just saying like press conferences mobbing watching made me anxious. Yeah, the press conferences I've never been a fan of. I will admit, I don't think that they're necessary really, because they end up saying exactly the same things in the interviews, because the people that are interviewing them, spoiler alert, 99% of the time don't watch the press conferences. I don't really know what the audience is for those press conferences. I think they're pointless, to be honest. I think you could do one of them just for like the international press, but I don't think they're necessary otherwise. I really don't see the point. Right, okay, Moldova or Netherlands? This is a tricky one because I really have grown to like Birth of a New Age. I think I probably prefer Moldova for... I don't know. This is where, like, I know some other things have got, like, you can choose either or, and I wish that was an option here. I'm going to choose Moldova. I already kind of regret that because I really do like... I really do like Netherlands, and I just prefer Lithuania to Italy, by the way. So, yeah, Vienna was great. Just overall, really, really enjoyable. And, yeah, just all of that experience was really great. It is so exhausting, though. Like, by the end of it, I was so tired and just so worn out. But also, like, then you hit the post-Eurovision depression and all those kind of things that we talk about. I didn't go in 2016 to Eurovision. And I left my job. I didn't really have the money or funds to do, like, I did, but I didn't want to spend all of the rest of my money on going to Eurovision, so I didn't go, which sucked. I hated not being able to go, having like had that bug for a year and like had that experience. To not be able to go straight away again was like killer. But then I got to go to Kiev, and Kiev was different. It's my favourite Eurovision I've ever been to, in a weird way. I don't know. I think it was because it was a little bit quieter. It felt like we were very much more in like a Eurovision bubble, kind of, but it was just fun. I don't know. It felt very carefree, and I feel like after Kiev, things got a bit more serious, and like the drama started to come in and things like that. And like I was dealing with other things. Whereas Kiev just felt fun the entire time that we were there. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like lovely city again. Every city I think we've been to, I've really liked being there. And they've all had something different about them. Like Vienna, Kiev, Lisbon, Tel Aviv were all very different in their ways. Delightfully cheap, which was amazing. Like I could drink pretty good beer very cheaply, and I enjoyed that. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I think that was probably like I felt like that was like the peak point for my experience, I think, and then it dipped and then kind of came back up again. But yeah, Euroclub was interesting in Ukraine. It wasn't great, but it was cheap again, so it didn't really matter. We had the Wee Wee Jam. I had missed that in 2016. We got to do that in 2017, which was very fun, very different. And again, like there were a lot of logistical nightmares in Kiev, I would say. They had done everything so last minute that it was a bit tricky at times. And, you were very aware of the situation. Like, I remember looking up one day and there was a guy with a sniper rifle just like walking along like the parapets of the press center. And I was oh, wow, okay, this is real. And you feel quite gated otherwise, like behind the Eurovision bubble. But yeah, it was very enjoyable. Like, it was fun. It was just like chill. And again, because there weren't a lot of us, like there wasn't a lot of press because not everybody wanted to go or could go. Because again, getting to Ukraine and staying there wasn't the cheapest. Like when you were there, it was okay, but getting there was probably the most expensive flight. I think was my one to Kiev and back. So yeah, it was nice press center. Really great team. The year itself and the songs weren't particularly memorable, but I just feel like everything clicked. Like we had great video coverage, just everything felt really good, and it felt like we had a lot of momentum, and I just really enjoyed that. And that was like the closest I got to, like, there's a selfie of me at Euroclub when we're doing the Wee Wee Jam, where I'm like, I took the selfie and it was like the team and then just people behind us, and that was like the closest moment where you ever get to feeling like this is where I've made it. Like I'm literally like, there are people watching me on a stage kind of, and they weren't there for me. Do not get me wrong. People were just going to Euroclub because there was nothing else to do. But that was just like one of those moments where you're like, this is pretty cool. This is actually really cool to be able to do this. And it really was. It was very exciting. Got to meet a lot of people for the first time that I hadn't met in 2015. So I met Bernardo for the first time. Or like, I think it was the first time. I might have met him in London maybe. But like doing Eurovision with Bernardo was great. Danny, my friend Danny, was there, came over from America. It was just like perfect. Everything kind of went right, I think, in Kiev for me. And I cannot talk highly enough about it, even though, like, as we all say, everything else about it was sort of like not the best. Like the staging, the hosting, all of those like weren't great in Kiev, but it was just a very enjoyable experience. Let's try and I'm going to try and speed run through some of these because again, it's very tricky. I think this one might be Croatia for me. I've really grown to like TikTok, but I also like Last Dance. That one's Voila. That one's Finland. Switzerland. I think Czech Republic is so underrated. Again, this one's tricky because they're like two sides of the same coin almost for me, like upbeat pop songs, Cyprus and Czech Republic, but they serve very different niches. And this is where it's difficult because literally like this might like change the ranking between like 10th and 25th almost, because I have such a big close mid pack and I don't really know where they're gonna end up. So again, do not think that if I rank something 25th, it means I don't like it. I like pretty much all but 4 or 5 songs and they are like meh to me. Like they're not, I don't hate them. So please keep that in mind. Please don't send me hate messages. It's my birthday. I'm gonna choose Cyprus there. Again, Belgium, really like Belgium. Really like Azerbaijan. I really like, again, there's so many good ones. Now this is a tricky one. Russia or Sweden? Russia, again, grown on me so much, but Voices I loved when I first heard it. But my gut instinct says I'm going to choose Russia there. Okay, so we managed to get through. We're nearly at 50% and we've done half an hour. So we're getting there. Promise. People saying that I left Wee Wee after Tel Aviv, like I said, and we didn't do a big public thing. Like I put something up on my notes on Twitter, did a notes app thing, I think, on Twitter, as you do. And I was just like, I've decided to leave. And that was it. We didn't make a big grand thing about it. I didn't want to make a big like public thing because I knew that if I said something, people would think that there had been a falling out or anything like that. Or if we did a video or anything like that. And that's why I delayed also putting off making a YouTube channel in a way, other than my own, like, just laziness and anxiety and lack of attention for things. But I didn't want people to think that there had been an issue or there had been a falling out, because there never was. I would like to think that if I went to William today and said, I want to come back, he would say yes. I don't think that would be an issue, hopefully. Okay, so after Kiev and going into 2018, it felt like everything started to shift a little bit. And like I had things going on. I think that was where like my personal, like I suffer with anxiety issues and I don't hide those anymore. And that was where that really started for me after Kiev, and like things were going on and just like generally it all just started to pile up a bit, and I was taking everything personally. Like if somebody said anything, like I still do follow people, and part of me wonders why I do, but also 99% of the time they don't say things. But it's like people I follow and would follow me would publicly criticize Wee Wee blogs on Twitter, but do like the W star blogs And it's like, you know that I follow you. You know that I can see you. Whether you think, like, if you like me, great. But if you're then going to talk shit about people I care about, then why? And I did unfollow some people, and I probably blocked people around that time. And there were also things that, quite rightly, like, I used to say shit, and I used to say dumb things, and I regret that. And I used to, like, get involved with things, or I wouldn't get involved with things pointedly. And yeah, it all sort of built up. And I think that was why 2018, I just didn't really enjoy it a lot. And there were lots of other things, like, so going to Lisbon, lovely, amazing city, great people again, a great team, but just everything felt a little bit off. So, like, we got to Lisbon and suddenly we got there and they said, oh, by the way, you can't record second rehearsals. And they revealed that the day of or the day before rehearsals began. And I always felt like that was a bit of a pointed thing. And I presume I can say this. So, like, I don't know whether I'm going to try and, like, apply for press for Eurovision 2021, like, and try and do the online thing. I'm probably not going to, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking maybe I will. And that's why I probably shouldn't say this. But the Eurovision fan house was a thing. I don't know whether anybody else will remember this, but in 2017 in Kiev, the head of the Eurovision fan house, apparently... So I had said, like, why is this a thing? And a lot of people had said this on Twitter. But I think I had been a little bit more vocal than some other people. And I had left the table in the press centre and gone and done something. And apparently, in that interim period, the head of the Eurovision fan house happened to come over and spoke to the wider team and was like, oh, you really should be careful about what you say because, you know, like, we're official. And it was very much like a veiled threat. And I always felt like after that point, there was just a tonal shift of, like, the fan groups and the fan websites and all that weren't as welcome. And I think that is changing again. I think it might be flipping, especially as we've seen things like Eurovision again, where fans have mobilized and we've got great people now like Rob Holly and just, like, generally people like that are getting more involved. And I think that might have shifted it back again. But I just remember at that point and going into 2018, it very much felt like it felt like there was, like, a attempted shift away from the fan blogs and fan sites, and it was like, we want to be taken much more seriously. That was how I felt about it, and I might be wrong, and it might be for very different reasons, but yeah, that was kind of what happened. And we got to Lisbon, and I very much felt that, and they were trying to, like, pen us in as Eurovision fan websites and blogs. Like, they were like, you can all only sit on these 4 or 5 tables, and they weren't very big tables or it was not a very big area in a very big press center. And within 2 days, like, there had been enough of a revolt, and nobody else had turned up. No other media was there, that they were like, okay, you can sit wherever you want. There was something very, very strange just about the whole vibe in Lisbon. And I didn't enjoy it for the majority of the time we were there. And again, like, my anxiety was playing up. I was dealing with that a lot. And yeah, it just wasn't great up to that point. And then, like, it was really, one thing I will say is that what made that better, and it was the first time and one of the only 2 times where I ever took a day off at Eurovision. So my friends, a group of my friends were coming to Lisbon to watch, and they had got, like, grand final, the jury final tickets, and they were going to be in the arena. So they came over, and it was great, and we had the wee jam, and I got legendarily drunk because I just was like, I'm taking the night off. I can't deal with the wee jam. I cannot deal with, like, the pressure and, like, getting people on and off stage. So I was just like, I'm off. And I had 4 Long Island iced teas in the space of about an hour and a half, maybe less. It was great, though. Actually, I would say that, like, Lisbon was where I met a lot of people for the first time. And also, like, I've not even touched on things like press events, like London Eurovision Party, meeting people there has been amazing. But yeah, like I remember being in the crowd at Wee Wee Jam and people would be like, "Hi, Chris," and I was like, I can't deal with this. Because another thing that unfortunately set me off, as much as I love it when people come and talk to me about things, but also it's like I feel incredibly awkward when I then have to be like, "Hi, nice to meet you," and then I just immediately start replaying in my head people being like, "I should have said this, I should have said that," and like that's not great in the long scheme of things. So yeah, that was always a bit weird. But yeah, I took the night off, and then the next day I went and we went to Sintra, and that was great. And I just had like 24 hours out of the bubble, and I just felt incredibly recharged, and that really did help. And yeah, Lisbon was fine, I would say. I enjoyed it. I loved the songs. One of the best years again for songs. Just overall very enjoyable, but yeah, there were just, I think for most people they really enjoyed it. I just had other things going on, and yeah, it just, I don't know, the vibe just felt very different, I think was the issue. And every year like things had been downgraded a little bit, so I'd gone from Vienna, where we had like amazing press room, to like Lisbon. They did the best that they could with the things that they had, but it just again felt very different, and the penning was in and things like that, and I would also like, something that I always see get brought up is like the memorabilia or the merch, or like again these press gifts that you get, and I didn't really care too much about any of those, and I never have. And I see some people say, oh, people just to go get like the merch or to get a selfie, and I would like to think 95% of people don't do that. It'll be interesting to see, like, now that most people won't be able to go and do in person at Eurovision 2021. I'll be very interested to see who does get to go and do in person. That will be interesting to see like how they do that distinction. But I think that there is. We'll see. We'll see if a lot of people do disappear, then or don't try and apply, then that might say a little bit more about that whole situation. Now I thought I did click that, and it took a while to load. That's the other like thing you have to be aware of with this. So yeah, I will also, I should talk about, because it was a big thing in 2018 and with Lisbon, is Yeva and Lithuania, because that was a whole story. So I got to go to the Latvian pre-party in Riga that year, and that was the first time I met Yeva. And then I saw her again at London Eurovision party. Then I saw her at Lisbon, and it was just nice. I just remember hearing her. I didn't rate the song at all until we got to Latvia, and then she was at the interview things, and she just explained the song, and she explained like what it was about, and it just touched me. I again, like family things and just all that, but the message of the song really stuck with me. And then we saw each other again at London, and then we saw each other in Lisbon, and she was just like, you're kind of like my constant, like you're always there, and it's just nice. And it was just like, we had just this connection, I guess is what I would say. And it was just really nice. I really enjoyed it. And that song, When We're Old, just means so much to me still. And it really is. It's like, that was, again, one of the highlights of Lisbon. Just great. I really enjoyed that. And if I have any song ever attached to me at Eurovision, and I feel like most of the time people would probably say, if they associate me with one song, they would say Lithuania 2018. And I'm more than happy with that being a thing. Apologies if you can hear like clattering in the background. I think my other half is making me my birthday cake whilst I'm doing this, which is nice. Thank you very much to, again, thank you to everybody chatting away in the live chat as well. And just, yeah, lovely to see. I think it's great. I think we should be able to talk much more openly about things like this, and the struggles we have, because what's the point in keeping it bottled up in a way? And I tried to do that, and I know it's not easy for everybody, but honestly, if you can, just speak to people about these things. And just, that's why like I'm always about, and it's why I always say these days, just be nice. Like, it's a song contest. Why do we always get so involved with it and so angry and so aggressive about a song contest? You know, we are all fans of it. It shouldn't become a thing where we fight, or we try and drag people down because they don't have the same opinions of us. What is that doing to help anybody? It's not. Okay, so we'll move on to Tel Aviv in a second, but I will say, like, following Lisbon, there was a point in Lisbon where I genuinely thought there was 3 or 4 or 5 days in where I was looking at flights back home because I just wanted to get out of that situation there and then. Don't think I've told anybody this, but I genuinely was like, I was that bad. And like, we didn't go to Euroclub because it was too far away from where we were. There were just like a lot of things that I just didn't enjoy, and I didn't get to enjoy it. And it was partly because I was putting that on myself, as to why I wasn't able to. Oh god, I'm ranking Latvia a lot lower than I thought I would in those battles, at least. I'm going to get told off by UK fans because I'm not ranking UK very well. So anyway, yeah, in between Lisbon and Tel Aviv, I think going into Tel Aviv, and I think I even said this on social media and nobody really picked up on it. I think 1 or 2 people observantly were like, didn't you say something about this at the time? But I had said, oh, this is it. And I knew going into Tel Aviv I was going to leave. I had made up my mind even before we got there that I was going to leave Wee Wee Blogs and I was going to leave Eurovision for a bit. And that actually let me enjoy Tel Aviv so much more. It was unreal. Again, in terms of like step backs, we got to the press centre on that first day in Tel Aviv. I mean, I eventually got there. I had to because everything was closed and things were like, because nothing is open on a Sunday in Israel. Like, I remember I had to do like a massive 30-minute detour, and like I got to a point at one stage where I was having to try and cross a motorway, and I was like, I can't do this. I need to find another route. That was an interesting experience. Yeah. So we got to Tel Aviv, and they weren't giving out free water in the press room anymore. Like, at least before, we had always had water. Like, we'd gone from coffee to just water, and everything else we had to pay for in Kiev. And then we had gone, it was the same in Lisbon, and then we got to Tel Aviv, and we're like, oh no, you need to pay us for the water. They didn't have water fountains or anything like that. That did eventually come in, which was very welcome, because it was just like, it was exorbitantly priced as well. I will say, again, and I've mentioned this many a time, but one of the best things about Tel Aviv, and why there was a point where I was like, am I doing the right thing, was doing the live stream. And it's why I love doing this, I think, as well, is that I did, we were doing the live streams, and it was just so much fun. And I love, like, Suzanne is crazy. I love her though. And everybody, and like, again, everybody on that team I love so much. But like, doing those live streams with Suzanne or with Seb or with Angus or whoever it might have been, I just had so much fun and so much joy doing it, and we had so many great moments. And see people like clip those, it felt fun again. It didn't feel like it had become a job, or like you have to do this, you have to do things in a certain way, you cannot say this, you cannot do that. Like, those expectations, I just was sort of free again, and I was able to do things, and I was able to stumble or not be perfect every single time, and that took the expectation off me, like the expectations I put on myself, and it was just joyous in a way. I just so enjoyed it. Yeah, it was really great. It was really great to do those. So again, thank you to everybody that ever watched those and got involved. That was just a huge amount of fun. Technicolor or El Diablo? Technicolor, first immediate choice. Oh, I know people are going to hate me for putting Germany here, but I prefer Germany. So yeah, Tel Aviv was really good. Again, like there were moments, and I had a full on anxiety attack at the Wee Wee Jam, which is why I wasn't there. Like I managed to get in and out, but I remember something happened, and I won't go into details on it. But something happened at the press center just before the Wee Wee Jam, and everybody else left, and I was like, "It's fine. I'm just going to stay and like edit videos." And I was already like in the process of having an anxiety attack, and I recognize that now. And so yeah, we got to I edited this video that we had been working on, and I uploaded that, and then I started making my way to the Wee Wee Jam, and I was just like, I got to outside the building, and there were already people there, and I just full on panicked and froze and just like had to go hide. And I literally couldn't go back into the building to get the stuff I had dropped off there for an hour. And I managed to get in, grab my stuff, and just be like, I need to go. And that was like one of the worst moments, I think. But then everything else around that was fine. And I was fine by the next day. But I just had like this full on panic. And again, that sort of, again, in my head was like, no, I'm making the right decision here. And like, I told a couple of people knew, whilst we were there, I was just like, yeah, by the way, I'm probably going to do this. And then eventually I told William, like, once we got back, and that was sort of the end of me at Wee Wee. Euroclub, what was Euroclub like in Tel Aviv? What was that like? Very good fun, although there was no Wi-Fi and everything. Tel Aviv is so expensive, guys. Oh my God, like that was the most expensive Eurovision I've ever been at, and I spent a lot of money. Like everything. I would come back to alcohol like I'm some kind of drunkard. He says having finished a bottle of Prosecco already today. Yeah, that was, yeah, I didn't expect how much everything would cost me whilst we were there. Lithuania is better than Russia, just as is Italy. Iceland or Russia? Ooh, tricky. I think I'm going to say Russia. And then Sweden. I didn't think I'd be putting this many above Iceland, but here I am. Yeah. Tel Aviv. So yeah, press center, very nice. Again, great team there. And they really were helpful in terms of like getting us like places to go and eat and just recommending things, because again, like we didn't have Wi-Fi a lot of the time when we were there or anything like that. We were just sort of very much stuck with like Wi-Fi in the press center. Maybe you would get free public Wi-Fi here and there, otherwise you were just stuck like walking and just hoping you might like find the place you were going to, downloading maps beforehand, or spending a ridiculous amount on data. Other memorable things, the red carpet was definitely a memorable experience for me. Orange carpet, whatever it was. So obviously, like, they were like the hosting for that was like iconically bad. But then I remember I was editing things, and the next thing I knew, like I was sat on this plank further away from everybody, and out of the corner of my eye, I just was like, what's that like scuttling? And then I looked around, and the entire thing I was sat on was swarming with... People say they were beetles. They looked like cockroaches to me, and I am a huge insect phobe. It was horrifying, and I shrieked and ran. But, you know, there were lots of good experiences. I met a lot of really cool people, had a lot of fun. Outside of that, Euroclub was very fun. Got to see Verka Serduchka for the first time performing live. That was great. There were just lots of like little fun bits that really made it come together. And I think because I knew I was like having a bit of closure on that chapter, I was able to enjoy it more. Just the whole vibe kind of worked for me. And yeah, that was sort of where we got to. And then, you know, I had made my decision. We had the final night, and I was just like, yeah, this is sort of where I'm at. There's probably a lot of stories, and there probably are a lot of things that I've forgotten to talk about in all this. Like crazy things that happened when we were filming, or like anything with that. I haven't talked about a lot about people, but again, like great team. I love so many people as well. ESC Insight team, ESC United, like ESC, everybody is just like there were so many great people in those press centers, and I wish, like, my one regret is, and again, like, I think part of me thinks I shouldn't talk about this, but I will, because I think it is relevant, and I don't think anybody will deny it. There's a lot of partisanship between Eurovision websites and blogs, which I also think is a bit silly. And I think that not everybody engages in it, but there were definitely things where it was like it was us against them, and I think that was also like brought on by both sides. Like, people thought they're hating on us, but we then also, it was like, but we're hating on them. I think there was a bit of back and forth. I don't think everybody came out of some of these situations perfectly, and I don't think it was necessary a lot of the time. And that was why, like, again, by the time we got to Lisbon and Tel Aviv, I sort of was like, I don't care. Like, I'll talk to people. I'll be like, why are we being angsty about things? Especially in Tel Aviv. Again, Lisbon, I was a bit in my own head about things. But Tel Aviv was just like, we're all in this for the same thing. Like, why are we always like being like not talking to each other? And I think that in Tel Aviv, like Kiev, I think everybody was quite close. Again, because it was quite a tight bubble, but ESC Kaz, Mike and Daniel, those guys are amazing. Again, like Elaine, Ewan, Ellie, Ross, Roy, like everybody like gets involved with Insight, amazing. United, Matt, Zach, Connor, Sean, everybody there. Like, there's so many great people. Alicia, Michelle, people like that who are great. And obviously I had an amazing team around me, and that is something that I'm going to miss. Whether or not I do press this year, like, it's not going to be the same no matter what. And I just feel like, yeah, that'll be a shame to miss out on those experiences with those people, because they are great. Nice. Sorry, I'm 30, but I'm still immature. Yeah, it was just, yeah. I've had so many great experiences, and I'm just so glad that I got to do it as well. Oh, this is a tricky one. So if you haven't gathered, these are in my top 3. It's probably Switzerland. Do I really prefer Growing Up Is Getting Old to Maps? Apparently. I chose that very quickly. Okay, let's try and speed run through some of these. I really like Technicolor. Again, it's grown on me, but I think Maps is slightly better. El Diablo is better than TikTok, although I really like TikTok. That's better than that. Azerbaijan or Greece? This is a tricky one. I've listened to Matahari more than I have Last Dance, so I'm going to have to put it above Last Dance, because I wouldn't listen to it if I didn't prefer it. I guess that's a fair way of looking at it. I prefer Germany there. Denmark or Albania? Albania, definitely. And these two are very similar as well. We're getting there. We've only got 21%, and I've only been going an hour, and we've still got 45 minutes before the race. We're okay. So yeah, obviously, like, that's sort of where I'm at in terms of my press experience. And I'm sure that there will be more things that I will be able to talk about, or I'll remember to talk about later on. But I've never really been able to... I've tried to make this video before, and I've never been able to, like, just talk it out. I think, again, that's why I prefer doing these live streams. It's more just a stream of consciousness more than anything else structured, because I don't do well with structure. Just not something I deal with very well. So, yeah, hopefully that answered a few questions. If you do have more questions about press center, press experience, anything like that, let me know over in the live chat if you're here. If you're not, let me know down in the comments below if you're watching back live. Again, just thank you to everybody that has liked or has commented so far. It's great to see so many people watching, according to YouTube at least. So that's great to see. Thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you for wishing me happy birthday and all those things. Yeah, let's try and crack on through some of these. And obviously, like any other Eurovision questions you might have, just let me know and I'll try and answer them. I think the lucky one. And Voya Kadame and Austria there. Oh, okay. Well, of course it has to be the top two now. Malta. I definitely clicked that, didn't I? Yeah. Again, there is a little bit of lag sometimes with this where you end up clicking the wrong thing and it slightly throws things out, but it shouldn't overall change things. You just have to remember when you've clicked it sometimes. Growing up is getting old, or discotheque. Zithy Ibwani. Russia. Voices. Yeah, sorry, Bulgaria. But I think that goes there. The other thing is that like sometimes you get to some of these battles in this ranking where you end up like being, oh well, I prefer this song to this song, but then you've preferred, like sometimes you end up in like some weird triangle where it's like song A beats song B, but B beats C and C beats A, and it's like, well, hang on, how does that work? But then it does sometimes. I don't know. It like it depends on like where you're at and the mood you're in, and obviously I think this is very. Like, this is just before we see anything, and this is based on the impression I'm at now. If I'd done this based on first impressions, if I'd listened to these songs once, it would be entirely different as well. But, like, in terms of, on this day, 28th of March, 2021, this is my feelings. So this is my top 39 for this date. We'll see when we get to rehearsals. We'll see after the show whether anything has changed. Because usually it does. I would not have put Fuego as my favourite of 2018, and yet... well, other than like Lithuania by the end, like it's there. I would have had Fuego like 20th or 30th probably. So 10 years and then Maps there. I prefer Amnesia to El Diablo. I don't like the new version of Shum as much as I did, so that's a bit of a problem. Omaga or Shum? Omaga. And then Belgium. The problem is the new version of Shum has not stuck in my head at all. And I've listened to it a few times now. Matahari or Shum? Shum. Matahari or Loco Loco? Matahari. Last Dance, Loco Loco. Okay, Milosh says, what's your favourite entry for my country, which is Poland? My favourite Polish entry, not to throw it back, is Tony Ja, Edytha Górniak in 1994. I think it's beautiful. I think it's such a good entry. I don't think Poland has ever really come that close to beating it. I think obviously 2016 could have been what could have been had it been Cool Me Down. That would have been my favourite. Would it have won Eurovision? Who knows? But I think the fact that it's still kind of an iconic song and you still hear it like in general circulation, at least in the UK these days, like, does that mean that it would have done better? I don't know. But yeah, Tony Ya I think is really, really nice. There's another one that's really good from like the late 90s and I just can't remember it off the top of my head. But yeah, Poland... a lot of the noughties, I didn't really get Poland. And then, other than... I've liked a few of their ones. Ale Jestem. Yes, that's the other one that I'm thinking of. Thank you very much, MEKS. JW does say, I still laugh when you announced 4 different winners during the televote with your Hatred Bun Sigra voice. Yeah, I lost my voice twice at Eurovision. Once in Lisbon at the very start, where I sounded like, as William said, a chain-smoking drag queen. I just completely lost my voice after the first day, and it was hell for a couple of days. It didn't ever hurt, but it was just annoying. That's something I didn't talk about. How ill I was in Kiev. I had glandular fever, so I was like seriously ill and just like in pain, and I actually gave myself an injury in my ankle as well whilst we were there because, again, I was running so much and trying to get things through. By the end of Kiev, I couldn't walk and I was in like constant pain because of glandular fever. And then, yes, in Tel Aviv, we also... I gave a lot of my body and myself to Eurovision, if you couldn't tell. We had Tel Aviv. Yeah, the final results of Tel Aviv, where I was like, oh my god, this one's gonna win. This one's gonna win. That was a bit much, but it's just like I'm very passionate about Eurovision, and I get very excited and psyched up, and I'm terrible for it, and I know a lot of people used to call me out for it, but I literally would sit there with a spreadsheet open whilst the results were coming up so I could work out. I don't do well with I don't do well with surprises or tension or like expectations around that. So I need to know and to be able to temper myself, and also for the website to be able to like put in like who got what points, so that at least we have a log of that. That was also important for it. But then like I would always try and like work it out, and I remember in Tel Aviv I was like, oh, it's definitely this, it's definitely that. And even then, when I knew in theory that the Netherlands had won and that Sweden couldn't, I then convinced myself that I had messed up my voting and that I had like put a wrong number in, so it didn't matter in the end anyway. But yeah, I still do that now with things like Melfest and things like that. Like I try and work it out just so I don't have that. It spoils the surprise in a way, but I don't do well with them, so it's better for me. This is an interesting battle, Germany or Norway, because it's kind of like two sides of the it's kind of two sides of the same coin in terms of like, are they novelty, quote unquote. I'm gonna put Germany because I quite like Germany, and I prefer Fallen Angel to Dark Side. I'm not a big fan of Finland. I know a lot of people are big fans of Dark Side, but I just don't get it. And I think especially now that we have a much better rock entry, or like rockier entry in Italy, I just don't really get it at all, unfortunately. Oh god, Mr. Blackjack says, what happened between yourself and Michael Rice? Okay, let's talk about that. I had said in a reaction video, my problem with it, and I really liked it, I knew that the UK was probably good. I was like convinced it was either Germany or the UK finishing last going into the final of Tel Aviv. Because I didn't want to say that because I had so much like issues with the UK, but the staging for Bigger Than Us, and I've said bigger, so you can all say it in the chat now if you want, that was the whole thing, but the staging just completely let that down. And I will say, like, I don't blame Michael for this. I blame the fact that they never told him, don't look at the arena crowd, you've got a camera to connect with. And that was my big thing. I was like, I just wish somebody would say, can you just look at the camera? Because it's where it was letting it down. And he eventually started doing it more, but in the rehearsals, it was just constant, like, every camera shot felt like it was missed to me. And I was not saying that as a personal attack on him. My big criticism has always been that I don't think that, and you know, you can look at, the support that is given to the UK artists is never, ever enough. I think, there was an interview with Surrey where she said, like, financially, you don't get enough support, but also just generally, I don't think that there is enough given to the UK acts. So I don't think that any of this is a complaint about the artists. And I've always said, I cannot do what they do. I would never be able to do what they do. So they have already got a leg up on me. But apparently, me not being shady about him, but me having like a legitimate concern about the staging of my country's song apparently really offended him. And, we saw on the orange carpet, he said something about that. And he was like, oh, you guys don't like me, and it's like, well, no, it's not that we don't like you. It's that we think that there's like an issue with the staging. And it's that also defensiveness. And it's that kind of like, well, are you always going to react like that if somebody doesn't specifically like your song or what you're doing? Like, that doesn't help. So I've never had any beef. And, to me, it was always like, well, I don't really see. Like, it was almost like a pre-built excuse. Like, oh, it's not my fault that I'm doing poorly. It's like I'm being put down by negative things. I don't know. And I don't know whether that was the team or whether that was him or who had told him about this. I don't know what it was. But then, and I will always say this, if you want an example of like how to deal with that or like what the response is, I legendarily, in a way, or infamously, whatever you might want to say, didn't like Salvador Sobral's Amar Pelos Dois before we got to Kiev. And Salvador and Luisa were like, no, we really want to meet him. Like, we all just want to say hi and, like, chat. And, like, you know, they didn't care that I had pretty much said that I hated Salvador and the way he performed songs. Like, they were so charming, so polite. And I ran into Salvador and he was like, hey, man. And it was just really friendly and cordial. That, to me, was like, great. You know what? Like, who cares what a 28-year-old guy on the internet is saying about your song? I could be anybody. And I wasn't saying some of the worst things. People were being much worse. There were people in the press centre who were making fun of Michael's weight and things like that. And there have been much worse things said. And I've said things that I regret saying. I said that Traincha Ustahuis looked like a slutty widow. And that was like, I didn't need to say that. I shouldn't have like said things like that. I regret that now. But I also don't think it was that, like, you know, her outfit at the time was a low-cut dress with a, like, funeral veil on. So, you know, I jumped to that in 2015, but I was, you know, younger and less mature, and I realised that you don't say things like that. So I never tried to make it personal, but if that was taken personally, I think I even said, like, I apologise. Nothing I say was ever personal. It should never have been taken as a personal attack. And if that was the way it was chosen to be interpreted, so be it. Nothing I can do about it. And that was something that happened as well, because I remember in Tel Aviv, we were at Euroclub, and 2 UK Eurovision fans decided to come up and literally shout in my face about it. And other people were like, you need to sort this. And I was like, I have nothing to sort. I'm sorry that was taken in that way. You know, it was ridiculous. So, yeah, I've never, you know, there were other examples. I met the songwriter of Stay, a song which I had slated time and time again and been like, the lyrics for this are terrible. I met the songwriter when we were in Tel Aviv, and he was very polite, very friendly, very cordial, and he understood why we were saying things. And you also need to understand that some of the time I was putting on a character. And we all were. Like, I'm not the person I always am on camera. I'm not the person that I was always on camera at Wee Wee Blogs. You know, if there were times where, and, you know, I never changed my opinion, but I sometimes would play them up, is what I'll say. You know, if we all really loved a song, great, we would probably all say we really love a song. But also, if there were times where it was like, well, I'm a bit indifferent, but the other two would like it, I would play up, I don't really like this. Or I would always try and find, like, I would always try and be constructive. It was never, this song is shit. Like, that doesn't help anything. But you try and find things that you can say about a song. As like, I still do that now, where it's like, you know, I wonder what the staging will be like. I wish they would change this. I wish they could do something about this. But then you say something good about it too. And that is something that is really important, I think. And yeah, sorry, that got a bit ranty. But yeah, it was like there were things like that where it was just like, this is silly sometimes. You know, I don't remember whether you know, I've only ever disliked one Eurovision act, one Eurovision artist, and it's no surprise that it's Waylon. And I can probably say that quite publicly now, because I just think that he was childish, immature, and playing things for the sake of it, and knew what he was doing. And it's no surprise that if you were to ask many people in the press room, that they would probably say the same thing, that he was like one of the worst to deal with. So yeah, you know, I've had conversations with people like Slavko, and that was all friendly and cordial. Like, and again, yeah. So I don't know what the deal was there, but yeah, and that was why also I think it helped that I sort of like took the step back and I was able to just be like, because again, it didn't really bother me too much in Tel Aviv. And you know, even things like the whole Romania thing, that was obviously a thing with that girl in Romania and the national final and things like that. Like, I was probably taking that personally, and that was another trigger for me to be like, I need to just stop caring as much. And I was like, yeah, I just need to take a step back, and I did. But obviously, like, there is still a bit of me that's like a little bit, but yeah, just, again, it's a song contest. Let's just enjoy it a little bit. UK or Portugal? UK. Sorry, Portugal. I know there's a lot of Portuguese fans. Oh God, now it's the Amen off. Austria's definitely better than that one. And then Georgia or North Macedonia. I think this might be the last one, guys. Okay, let's have a look, because there are a lot of people saying things over in the comments, actually, by the way. Yeah, JW, don't worry. I know about the I know it wasn't a criticism about me doing the reacting crazily to the results. I mean, actually, if you ever want to watch like me going crazy about results, just look back at the 2017 live video where we reacted to Portugal's victory, because that one is insane, where I just like jump up and like scream at Bernardo that Portugal have won. And again, if you ever wanted like proof that I did like Portugal and that wasn't just for show, like I wouldn't have been that excited about it if I had if I didn't care so much. But yeah, like even with Portugal, I didn't like Amar Pelleș-Dois. Did I talk up a little bit about like how much I didn't like Amar Pelleș-Dois? Probably a little bit. But also, you know, that worked. And I am a wrestling fan as well. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So you play a gimmick. Like, it's the same kind of thing like with that. And, you know, much bigger YouTubers talk about this all the time. Like, the person you see on camera isn't the person outside of that. So, you know, I might be able to look like I have as much confidence or whatever it might be in front of a camera, or I used to at least, and not talk openly about stuff. But then, you know, it can be very different when you're off camera. It all just depends. But like I said, like I was never told you need to like be positive about this country or this act or whatever it might be. Just to make that very clear, because again, that always used to annoy me, at people being like, oh, Wee Wee Blogs is paid by Russia to say nice things. I never saw anything. I never had to say anything. So as far as I am concerned, that never happened. Because I never saw any proof of that, and I was never... The most that we ever did was we would maybe be a little bit nicer about a host country song, because, you know, you have to be nice to the... You know, you don't want to cause issues. But even then, I don't think we ever... You know, I don't think that ever really came across. It was just like, don't give it like a 0, give it a 2 or something. And I don't think that ever really was a thing. But it was just like, you know, be aware and don't say shit about countries. Because you're going to have to go there and be in their country. And, you know, I was very vocally critical of Kobe Marimi Home, because I think that song was really bad. But, you know, it was never like outright, you cannot say things. There we go. That was the final one. Okay, Michael was just surrounded by yes men. I only saw the positive from fans, not the critique of it, took too much to heart. Yeah, we need a reform. To be fair, Lee Smithhurst, who is now the UK head of delegation and was in 2019, he was sort of given... He didn't get any choice in what happened in 2019. As far as I'm aware, all those decisions were made beforehand for him. So I don't... And I think, you know, since then, it looks pretty clear, like with James Newman and the BMG deal and all that, like he is doing things, and hopefully that comes across in the result for James in 2021. Yeah, you are speaking facts. Yeah, Stefano, again, don't take it personally. Don't be offended. Like, it's not... Yeah. Do you remember Elbow Lady from the Tel Aviv live streams? To Elbow Lady! Yes! I forgot about her. We had a lot of characters in those early days of the Tel Aviv live stream. So we had the Elbow Woman, we had Eleni Flauera, we had My Hereditary. Yeah, they were all like, that was something, again, like I just loved doing those live streams, because it was just we had our own little community within a community, it felt like, and that was just so much fun. Anyway, let us talk about, as I have spent an hour and 19 minutes doing it, my Eurovision top 39. And apparently Monaco 1979 entrant has just died. That's very sad. And may they rest in peace. I cannot say that I know the name off by heart. But obviously, very sad. Okay, let us... Where's my mouse gone? This is the joy of two monitors. Okay, so... Malta, number 1. Switzerland, number 2. France, number 3. Lithuania 4 and Italy 5. I'm not surprised by that. I probably might have thought Italy would be above Lithuania. But, yeah, I think that makes sense. Russia there... Yeah, I mean, that is like the top 10 I thought it would be, to be honest. This bit, 6 through 10, a little bit surprised me in terms of the order for them. I think it just shows how much Russia has grown on me. Because even like when I first heard it, I enjoyed it, but that national final was just so weird. It was hard to take it in. And I think obviously Malaysia has had a lot of hate as well, which, unfortunately doesn't surprise me. But fair play. I really like. I like Russian Woman, and I genuinely think a lot of this top 10 that I've got here could have a shot of winning. I think that the winner is going to come from these top 3. I think that is where the winner is. I would be very surprised if somebody other than that ends up winning. But we will see. Ireland, yep. And again, like, I really like all of these songs. Like, Belgium, I thought might be in my top 10 at one point. And I think Wrong Place is really good. I think it's really underrated. It's crazy. Like, in a way, it's crazy. Like, Serbia is technically in my bottom half. I wouldn't think that it's in my bottom half. But there's just so many great songs. And I genuinely think, like, I like Jendrik. I do like I Don't Feel Hate, and I like Norway, but I feel like for me, it is like 21 and above is kind of where like the cutoff might be. I'm aware that I might be lagging a little bit, so I apologise if that is happening, but my laptop may be dying a little bit because I've been streaming for an hour and a half, nearly. Let's quickly go through some of the other ones. Yep, Norway, Moldova, Netherlands. I mean, again, I really like Netherlands. I think it's really, really good. Israel might be lower down because of the revamp. UK 30th. Again, like some of these. I think, and again, no shade to anybody that is a fan of these 4 songs. These are the 4 that I'm like, I don't really care about. Those are the only 4 where I'm like, eh. But actually, everything from here upwards, I at least really like to some degree. And I think that they could do well. So yeah, if you are a Portuguese fan, I realise they're 35th. If you're a Spanish fan, I realise that they're 34th. But it is not, it's not it's just me at this point and me at this time, so apologies, but we will see. We'll wait and see, because I might be entirely wrong. And again, Portugal at a point, Amar Pelos Dois for me was not in my top 30, was not in my top 35. It might have even been my last place at a certain point. Fuego wasn't in my top 20, I would say. So what do I know? Is the answer. Is the ultimate thing, what do I know? I'm just one person, one voice. So there we go. Let's just see. I think it might also give me who I have as my qualifiers. Yes, let's see my qualifiers. So I think Malta, Lithuania, Russia, Sweden, Ireland, Australia, Romania, Cyprus, Belgium, Croatia, and then Ukraine missing out. See, I think that's right. But I think Australia and Croatia might miss out, and Ukraine and Azerbaijan are in. That's my personal feeling. I really hope Ireland makes it, though. I really, really hope Ireland makes it. And then over on semi-final 2, Switzerland, San Marino, Bulgaria, Iceland, Czech, Greece, Serbia, Moldova, Latvia, Poland. Again, I don't think Poland... we'll see whether Poland qualifies. I don't know whether Latvia will. I think Finland will. And I think, honestly, any of these four could as well. I'd be very surprised if Austria qualified. But yeah, I think Portugal, Estonia, Denmark, Albania, Finland all have a chance of qualifying. I just don't think it's as close as semi-final one. Like, I think semi-final one has so many big hitters. And again, you don't know how people will react to Norway or Israel as well. So we'll wait and see. God, there's only... because obviously with Belarus and Armenia out, you know, that cuts some of the numbers down quite considerably when you look at it. So we will wait and see. We'll wait and see. It makes it harder / easier for certain countries to qualify. Does it... it harms Russia for Belarus not to be there, because that would probably be at least 20 points guaranteed. Probably 24, to be honest. So we'll wait and see. We will wait and see with some of these. Anyway, right, let's go back to this view with Roy and Waluigi hanging out in the background. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined for this mega stream in the end. I hope you enjoyed some of those bits and that you enjoyed just our general chat about Eurovision and press. And thank you again to everybody who has been commenting along in the live chat. Let me know what your thoughts are about all of these down in the comments as well. If you managed to sit through it all, amazing job. Thank you again to everybody who's wished me a happy birthday. And yeah, obviously, like there are, like I said, there are countries that I haven't covered yet, and we will get back to those. I'll do another live stream in the middle of the week, and then yeah, we'll see where we get to. There's some other videos I want to try and do in the meantime, and yeah, I will do another ranking after the rehearsals, but before the semi-finals, maybe. We'll see. Like, obviously, again, I don't know whether I'm going to try and apply for press. I don't think I would get it even if I applied for it, to be brutally honest. I don't think that there's, one, enough spaces, and two, that the channel is big enough. If you want to help the channel out, you can like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and do all of those good things. But yeah, I don't think... because also I have a job and things like that I need to think about, and I can't really take 2 weeks off to also be watching Eurovision live streams at the same time. So yeah, okay. Amazing stuff. Have fun, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday if you're watching live. Let's go Max Verstappen, and let's hope that he can win the race, and also Pierre Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda can maybe get on the podium. That'd be nice. But yeah, there will be lots more streams, and just generally, yeah, thank you very much, everybody who has watched. As I have said, probably at multiple points of this video, be kind, be nice, look after yourselves, especially, again, I know a lot of things are going crazy, so just look after yourselves, be good, and just, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, whenever it is that you're watching this. And I will see you all soon. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Bye. And now this is the awkward bit where I try and end the stream.